Hi. I wanted to talk about a reaction to the mass murderer killing himself and our collective exhalation that the search is over, and that there's closure, at least with that part. You know, the hypervigilance of where is he going to strike again, who else is going to be hurt. So that part's over, and now what's left is a lot. There's a lot left, and that's another topic. I wanted to talk about the survivors of domestic violence, of sexual abuse, physical abuse, people who did not have one night of terror, but had night after night, day after day of terror. And maybe more than one assailant, maybe more than one offender. Sometimes when things like what has happened over the last few days happens, particularly in your own backyard, your own state, your own community, there can be this feeling of, where's my justice? Where's my community rally? No one brought me food. No one paid for the burial. No one created a hotline or anything. No one asked me if I needed to talk. No one brought me supplies. No one came to the hospital day after day to be with me. My offender, maybe, is still out there. It's hard. It's hard. I remember volunteering in Kansas City, and some of the moms in the mom group, they would talk about their kids having to wait for the bus. They have to walk past the offender's house who had a warrant for his arrest, and the child had to stand there by him or herself, waiting for the bus to come, watching the curtain, the window move, knowing that the rapist, the abuser, was right there, calling the police. He's right there. And the police not wanting to go into that particular neighborhood at that particular time or whatever. Just, heartbreaking. There's so many stories. There are so many stories. So many stories. So what I can tell you, because I have my own story, what I can tell you is, whatever it is you make up that you think is needed in order for you to thrive, it's not justice. It's not. Whatever you make up something else. Make up something else. Because you know what? You don't need someone to be arrested, restitution. I mean, wouldn't that be nice? What was that movie, Unbelievable? She gets a new Jeep and money. That's not real life. That's not real life. No one was arrested for what they did to me. There was no justice. But I choose to believe that I don't need to worry about that, because there's karma, and I wouldn't wish that sort of karma on anybody. And so I choose to believe that it's all going to work out, and I can leave revenge and all that behind me and just focus in on, okay, what happened happened. What happened happened. What can I do today to take the best care of me? Can you hear that? That is, wow. Wow. That is a massive flock of geese. Isn't that amazing? Wow. That's amazing. Do you hear that, Oliver? Can you see that? Wow. Wow. Oh my gosh, did you see that? Wow. Did you notice the way the geese were like a certain amount of distance away from each other? The reason why they do that is because they draft off of each other. The goose in front of me, I'm a goose flying in the air, takes some of the wind off of me and makes where I'm flying a little bit easier. And they take turns. That's why they kind of, one goes in front of the other. They take turns. And they do that as a flock, each drafting off of each other. Somebody enduring the brunt of it for a little while and giving the other person a break, and then falling behind, and then the other person bearing the brunt of it for them and giving them a break. And together that, that pushing through and resting and pushing through and resting together as a flock, they reach their destination. They reach their destination. So that's what I'm trying to do with this message to you, is I'm trying to let you know, I'm trying to draft for you, I'm trying to take some of the pressure off. If you agonize because you think, I'm never going to be happy, I'm never going to heal, life is just, it's going to be like this forever, my life is ruined, all these things because of this thing that happened to me, it's not fair, I didn't get a break, all this stuff. And you can be right about stuff, like it shouldn't have happened, and all, like, you can be right about that. But you can change your story, and you can change your story about what things mean. When you change your story about what things mean, it can set you free. It can put you in that flying a little bit easier as you move towards your destination. What makes my journey easier is I make stuff up. I make stuff up. I make up that person's karma is not what I want. So, and I don't want karma, so I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to like hurt anybody or revenge or that's just not my style. I just get away from the Jerry Springer anything, right? And I ask myself, instead of focusing in on what I can't do, I didn't get educated. I'm never going to have the fairy tale wedding. My dad's never going to walk me down the aisle. I'm never going to graduate high school. I'm never going to know what it's like to be in a dorm, my freshman year of college. I'm never going to know, blah, blah, blah. I didn't go to high school. Well, I went for a couple of months, but I was smoking in front of the building. But anyway, what can I do? I can take classes. I can, when I was a little girl, I wanted to be a witch, a nun, a zoologist, and a ballerina. So I'm all those things in my own way. So in order to live my happiest life, I had to let go of a story that I'm forever broken, because that doesn't serve me. If I think I'm forever broken, how am I going to behave? And is that behavior in alignment with my highest and best self? No. If I believe that I am contaminated, I am damaged goods, and I'm never going to have the kind of love that I see in movies and I see my friends have and that I long for, if I believe that story, how am I going to behave? What kind of people am I going to attract? Is that in alignment with who I am destined to be? Nope. If I believe I'm unworthy of friendships, fill in the blank, whatever the story. If you believe that story, how do you behave? And is that behavior expanding you to be the highest and best version of yourself? Or is it constricting you and holding you down into a place in a life that is not worthy of you? I believe the power of drafting, right? For me, if I feel sorry for myself, whatever, blah, 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 I serve because in my service to others, I have met people with a far worse history of abuse than me, and I've met people with far less history of abuse than me. And by the way, I've met people with far greater abuse, have less post-traumatic than me, and I've met people who had less abuse that were just, they just heavily medicated and on disability and can't do life. So that was interesting too. And then I got to make up my mind. What do I want for me? Because I could be right. Like I could totally just let myself go into crazy making, and I could get on disability and just live off the not that, I'm not judging, I'm just saying. Or I could thrive. What do I want for me? I get this one life and this amazing planet. How do I want to be? How do I want to be for my husband? How do I want to be for my friends? How do I want to be for my children? How do I want to be for my grandchildren? What kind of financial well-being do I want? What kind of health and body do I want? What kind of life do I want to lead? What kind of service do I want to give to others? How can I be a part of that energy, that kind of people that I wish there wasn't in life? How can I help that? Well, I can't. That's where I love the starfish story. I can't stop all children from being sexually abused. I can't make every human being be an advocate and prevent a child from being abused. I can't educate every single person on the planet But what I can do is I can get some people together and I can raise the money and bring to that gathering of people the best educator possible. I can do that. I can do that. Where can I make a difference? That's where I can make a difference. And then show up that way in various ways. Same thing with friendships. Same thing with my relationship with my children. Well, I'm not going to be Mary Poppins, but how can I show up for them in the highest and best way? How can I be the best mom? Well, I'm going to study. I'm going to read books and take classes, and I'm going to learn how to be the best mom I can. I'm going to learn how to interpersonal communication skills. I'm going to take a class and learn how to fight, conflict resolution. I'm going to learn what is it that I need to learn that I didn't, instead of I didn't learn it, so that's my excuse, and I'm just going to allow myself to show up broken. No, but I'm also not going to show up ashamed of where my weaknesses are. In my younger years, I would be horribly ashamed. I remember my blood sugar dropped, and I was at a girlfriend from church. I was at her house. All I had to do was say, "Can I have a half a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?" That's it. I just need a little sugar so I could make it home. And I was so embarrassed by the brokenness, like I was just a burden, and I didn't ask her for a sandwich, and I totally got lost going home because or I have a migraine and I'm supposed to have some friends come over and I didn't want to tell them, I have a migraine, you can't come over. So instead, they're in my living room and I'm throwing up in the bathroom, and they're like, "Why didn't you tell us?" Right? Just everything about me just felt broken, and I needed to be ashamed of that brokenness. And I no longer feel that way. Now when I'm in a restaurant, if activity behind me is bothering me, then I just say, "Hey, do you mind if I'm willing to wait. Can I have a table over by that wall where I can have my back against the wall?" And if I can just say that, I can also say, "I have anxiety, or I could just say, "I just would prefer," with no story. You don't even have to tell the story, right? That took time. So there are a lot of reactions that people can have after the mass shooting and suicide that we can all have, and just unconscious, not even be aware of what's happening. So I just wanted to bring out one, because it's my lane, people with acute childhood trauma who are, on that road of expansion and evolution, and not letting what happened to us undermine the wonderful life that we can have. I used to say it doesn't have to define us. Well, it does. It forever defines you, right? But you can still have an amazing life, and who's to say even a more amazing life than maybe that you would have had if you hadn't had that awful thing. I can choose to believe that if I want to, right? So whatever your reaction to what's happened, I hope that you'll make the choices. You'll look at your stories that you're telling yourself and you'll look at what happens when you believe that story and make a conscious choice on whether or not you want to keep that story or exchange it for a different one that's more in alignment with how you want to behave and how you want to show up in life. So it is a cold, dark, dreary day, Sunday, and I have my LL Bean wool on, and I put my robe over it because I just wanted a little bit of something warm, and my neighbor walked by while we were talking, while I was making this video. I'm sure she's like, there's Catherine in one of her outfits walking down the road, because that's how I roll. Anyway, my intention is to be a draft, is to be one of those geese for you, and maybe share something that helps, maybe share something that I've learned that might make your journey, where you're going, head south, just a little bit easier. I hope that this did that.